Hello everyone and welcome again to Crafts by the Bow. This week I'm using the Hello Cupcake set and it's one of the free celebration sets, and last time I made this little acetate card and this time I'm making a different sort of a card, but I'm using one of the templates that I've shown you before. This is one of the cards I made with the vibrant vases, and I think I said at the time that it was one of the templates I use a lot. Sometimes I'll use it on a portrait side, sometimes I'll use it on a landscape. And today I'm going to show you it on a landscape. So it's the same basis, it's not exactly all the same size. I'm cutting my DSP a little bit wider and I'm using my layering squares for the background and for the stamping. So let me show you how we're going to make it. I started off with a piece of thick Whisper White, and this is cut at 11 by 4 1/4, and I've scored it at 5 1/2 and folded it over. And most of the time when I do a landscape card, I fold it this way and cut it this way so that when it's standing up it's quite stable and it's not going to be splaying like this. So that's our base card. What we need next is to do our accent, and I'm going to do the same little cupcake. I'm just going to use a couple of different colours for it. So if you remember, I did the cupcake base in Early Espresso, the little bun case. And this is just a scrap. This isn't cut to the size that I need it for the card. Now, I did have a question from a lady who asked me about when I was stamping with photopolymer stamps. And she said that she'd always heard that you have to use the little stamping mat. And I do use a stamping mat. I know you can't see it, but I will show you. This is the one that Stampin' Up sell and that I use sort of at classes and things. But when I'm stamping up here in my room, I always have, let's move these, I always have the whole of my grid paper, so that gives you some cushioning. And I have one of these big stamping mats. Now, Stampin' Up don't sell these. I bought this at a store when I was in BC, I think, and I can't remember who actually made them, but it just fits underneath my grid paper, and so that gives me the extra cushioning as well. But if I'm not up here and I'm not using this grid paper, then I do use my stamping mat, because the photopolymer doesn't have any cushioning at all. And so sometimes you don't get the best impression. If you're just stamping sort of straight onto a table with just your card there, you don't get any cushioning at all. So always use a Stampin' Up mat. And thank you for the question. So here we are. I've got the little cupcake wrapper. Now I need my crumb cake to do my little piece of sponge. And again, I'm doing like a vanilla sponge. I don't like chocolate cakes, so I'm not keen on the flavour of chocolate in a cake. Or I'm not really keen on frosting, to be honest. It's a little bit sweet for me. So I'd rather have it without frosting and just with icing, sugar and water kind of icing. But we're all different. Okay. Now, for my cupcake this time, I'm going to use the Petal Pink. And it's not a very strong pink. It doesn't show up very, very well. No, it's not an in-your-face kind of pink. It's quite a subtle pink. And sometimes, if I'm stamping with this colour, I do use the Stamparatus, so I can stamp over it a couple of times if I need to. Just hold it on for a second or two, just to try and get a bit more ink to transfer. There we go. Now you can see I've got a little mark there where I've totally missed the cupcake. So I'm just going to get my crumb cake marker, just like I did last time. And I'm just going to go over in that little space, and it will look like it was meant to be. It's just right. Let's pop that back. And this time I'm going to put sprinkles on, but I'm going to do them in the Highland Heather. So let's open this ink, pop some sprinkles on here. And like I said last time, you know, I don't think there's a right or wrong way to do these sprinkles. They've got a slight curve, as though, you know, this is the way they're going to fit and over the frosting. But really, I tried stamping them the other way up and it didn't make any difference. They still looked good. Still looked like sprinkles. Okay. And then with the little pick, the little heart pick, I'm going to ink that up in the Highland Heather as well and pop that on the cake. On the last one I did it in the early espresso, but this time I'm doing it in that, just to give it a little bit more colour. And I'm also going to use my Wink of Stella pen. Excuse me while I just reach it. And give it a shake. And I'm only going to do the little pick and the sprinkles. I don't want shiny frosting today. And I don't want a shiny cake. I just want a little bit of glitter on the sprinkles themselves. Okay. Oh, I might just do it on the bun case though. That would look pretty cool. Oh, look, it's taking all the colour down. You can still see the pattern underneath. Oh, I like that. It looks like a proper bun case now, doesn't it? Oh, I might have to go back to my other cards that I've made with this and go and colour it in. I like that bun case. See, I'm easy pleased. There we go. Oh, nice. And I don't know if you can see, but it has got a little bit of shine. Okay, so now I'm going to cut it out, and I'm going to use the layering squares. Let me see which one this is. It's from this set, so it's the second largest. This is the largest, then this one, then that, and it alternates between. So this is the second largest, and I'll just pop it through my big shot. And when I put it down, I'm not going to push it in that way, because when you put them through the big shot, it actually works better if you have them on a slight angle, so a little bit of the framelit goes through first, and it's not such a shock for the machine. So I'm just going to, got it just on a little angle there. Let's pop it through and wind it back. There we go. We don't need this piece. And I'll pop that back. And then I am using the largest of the scalloped squares, and I'm cutting out a piece of the Highland Heather card because that's going to match all of our other things. So this is the piece I've already cut, and it was the largest of the square scallops. And that's going to just rest nicely on there. And it will just pick up the colour, just pick up the Highland Heather. Let's just pop these down. Find my card again. Because now it's disappeared. Right, so here's my card base again. And if we look at the original, we've got the white card. I've done the two squares, but this time the scalloped and the square that I've cut out. And so I need a piece of DSP. And this is the rest of the DSP from making the previous card. So with one of the 6x6 pieces of DSP, you can make both cards. That's quite economical. I quite like it when you save a little bit of money that way, because DSP can be expensive unless you learn to use your little scraps and things. Okay, so this is going to be our little banner piece, and I'm going to flag the end with my triple banner punch. And let me see what this was cut at. This is cut at 1.5. It was a 2-inch strip, but I wanted a tiny piece for inside. So this is cut at 1.5. And the 1.5 is going to be this in here. This is a 1 inch, a 1.5, and a 2-inch space. So just line it up in there, push it all the way through. If you're not quite sure, you can always look at the back, make sure it's level. If you don't have this, you can cut how I often cut them, where, let's pop this piece back in and pretend it's still there, where I cut in the middle, up, and then cut corner to corner, so that you still get the same chevron little banner shape. Okay, now I'm not quite sure yet where I'm going to place these, so I am going to just attach this though. Just a little bit of Tombow. Pop that on there. And I'm not quite sure, as I say, whether I'm going to have it near the top and a sentiment in this bottom right hand corner, or at the bottom and put my sentiment up near the top. See, I know this banner is still too long, but that's okay. We'll cut it down when we know where we're going to put it. Okay. Let's see if I like the spotty side. Oh, I like the spotty side. And I think I'm going to put my sentiment up here. So before I glue anything down, I'm going to find my stamps. I might use the same Sweet Wishes that I used on here, because it's just a nice little square there. There are other sentiments, like the Sprinkled with Love and the Celebrate Your Day. Let's see how they fit. Oh, Sprinkled with Love fits in nice as well. Oh, they all fit in nice. I just like these little curly bits on this one. So I'm going to use that one again. And I'm going to use the Highland Heather. Make sure I've got that inked up. And then I'm just going to straighten up my card and work out how high I want this, so whereabouts I can put my sentiment. I think I'm just going to put it over here. Now, if I had the Stamparatus on here, I could line it up with the grids on the Stamparatus and make sure that's all perfectly straight. And as it is, I don't have it with me, so that's just where the writing's going. Okay, so now I'm going to attach the banner. Now we know where we want it. I'm not going to put any glue right at the very end because we're going to cut this. And I don't want to have a lot of glue on my scissors or anything. I'm going to line up my paper again. Oops. And then I'm just eyeballing this line here, look, that goes across, just so that I think my banner is roughly straight. Okay, and then with my scissors, I'm just going to cut this little spare piece off. Stick it on there. Oops. And then I'm going to put dimensionals underneath my cupcake. Oh, did I get two there? Not sure, but they're stuck now. Take the back ends off. There we go. And let's attach that there. I want it to be sort of fairly even with the left-hand side and the bottom don't want it to be a much bigger space at one side than the other. Okay, and then I'm just going to find some of our dimensionals and get my little box out. I've got all sorts in here. Let's see. I'm just going to use the plain ones, the nice shiny silvery ones, because I don't think I have anything in matching colours. No, I don't have many of the artisan pearls in that pink. These are actually in the orange, and it's a little bit too dark. No, I don't have any others. If I had the pink, I might put the pink on. Let's throw that away. But as it is, I'm just going to use the little rhinestones. Let's have a look. Yeah, I think I'm just going to use these. So, here's one. Oops. I'm going to pop one over here. And I'm going to put one near my cake. Oh, it's stuck on my finger now. There we go. Okay, so 3 little rhinestones. And then I said I was going to use this little tiny piece. I'm just going to put it inside here. I was just checking which way around I'd finally decided to use the DSP. I want it to match. Little pieces of black fluff on here. And then I'm going to hold the card so that the front is at 90 degrees, and then I know just where to place that so that it will still fold over. Because sometimes I've put these pieces of paper in and it's a little fraction over the middle, and it's difficult to get it to fold. So I found that if I just hold the front up at 90 degrees, it's perfect every time. So these are all of the scraps that I've got left, plus 2 little 1/2-inch pieces, I think, from the other card. And that was just one 6x6 sheet. So that made 2 quite nice cards, just that one little piece. So I like those. So there you are, that's my second card for this week using the Hello Cupcake set, the free set from Celebration. Hope you give it a go. If you do, post me a picture. Show us all what you've made, just to add it to the comments so that we can all see. Thanks very much everybody, and I'll see you all again very soon. Bye bye.